All right, so today's question was, what is one similarity and one difference between a shark brain and a human brain? Make sure your mask is on your nose, or else it defeats its purpose. Loads are the same. Okay, so she's kind of describing, Cassie's kind of describing, rather than it all being clumped together, it kind of spreads out along the line of the skull. So its orientation or structure is different, right? So it has parts that allow it to do and pick up on the same things, but the position is different, right? Good, that's a very good observation. Good, it's in a flat line shape. Good, so pointing out the position of the brain stem. So we both have brain stems, right? How it's positioned though is different. So we want to keep in mind as we move forward, though a lot of the structures are the same, there are also structures in a shark and in their brain that are unique to the shark that we do not have. So we want to just keep that in the front of our mind. So we're actually going to go over our practice assignments. So let's start by going over our shark and shark brain dissection homework. Now, anytime we go over something, if you need to access it in order to go over and check your answers, everything we do in here is a Google assignment. So if you just go to your Google Drive and search for the title of the assignment, it will come up and then you can open it and make any corrections or ask any questions, okay? So part one here was vocab practice. So we're going to start there. Again, this is on the shark dissection practice. All right, one across. Which structure on a shark allows for reproductive fluid, solid waste, and liquid waste to exit the body? And again, you can answer this in the chat or using your microphone, whatever you are comfortable with. Number one across. Good, Thotto. It's the cloaca, kind of this multi-purpose hole that we see in fish, amphibians, and reptiles. Four across. Which structure inside?
Don't forget the chicken. The chicken also has a cloaca.
Birds have it as well, right? And that's because why? Birds are direct descendants of, who knows this? Birds are direct descendants of what type of animals that are no longer around? Dinosaurs, good. And dinosaurs have a lot of evolutionary similarities, right, to our reptiles. So that's where that comes from. So good point. Six across. Which structure inside a shark metabolizes food? Good, Stanley, the stomach. Seven across. Which structure inside a shark allows sharks to monitor changes in pressure and directionality when swimming? The lateral line. 12 across. Which structure on a shark is used for defense? Dorsal spine. 13, which structure inside a shark monitors red blood cells and helps with the immune system? Good, the spleen. And our spleen does the same thing. All right, now we're gonna look at the down portion. So two down, which structures on a shark allow the animal to sense electrical impulses from living organisms? Good, the ampulla of Lorenzini. Three down, which structure inside a shark pumps and circulates blood? The heart. 5 down. Which structure inside a shark aids in digestion by producing enzymes and hormones? Good, the pancreas. 8, which structure on a shark allows water to move across the gills at all times? The spiracles. Number 9 down, which structure inside a shark absorbs useful nutrients and excretes waste? The intestine, good. Number 10 down, which structures on a shark allow for oxygen absorption? Gills. And number 11, which structures inside a shark filter blood? The kidneys. All right, the very end then here was getting you to start brainstorming what some similarities and differences are between the shark and humans, specifically focusing on the brain, thinking about which structures or lobes are similar. Are there any unique ones to a shark that humans don't have? Are there any parts that humans have well developed that sharks don't? And is their positioning the same or different? And then starting to think about, why do we think there might be those similarities? And why might there be those differences given the type of animal that we are versus a shark? Okay. So now we're going to click to the next page. And we're going to click to 2.12 project. Okay, so if you go to the next page here in Canvas, we want to go to 2.12 project, human versus shark brains. So it says here, what do we have to do? You have to create a slide or multiple slides to compare a human brain and a shark brain. You need to identify all lobes and structures within the human brain and their corresponding functions. So I've listed those all out for you. You want to make sure to identify the following lobes and structures within the shark brain and their corresponding functions. Okay, so notice that some are a little different here than what we see in the human list. Identify the following unique structures on a shark and their functions. And then you want to start comparing these things. So we're going to compare both the brain of the shark and some of their special body features of the shark to us. And we want to think about, again, things that are similar, but also things that are different. And you're going to have to identify as well, why do you think it makes sense for these differences to exist? So for instance, if sharks have extra structures in their brain or on their body that we don't, why does that make sense for a shark, what it has to do in its environment? If humans have a structure in their brain that's unique to us that sharks do not have or do not have as developed, why do you think it makes more sense for us to have that versus sharks? Okay. So how are you going to do this? Well, you're going to click on the blue assignment link below and it's going to open up a Google presentation. You're going to notice it's totally blank. Okay, so if I click on it, there's absolutely nothing here. And that's because you are going to create this project in here. All right, so completely blank presentation. You're going to create this however you want. So there are no rules or guidelines of how it needs to be organized, how it needs to be laid out, or anything like that. That is up to your kind of creative freedom. You need to make sure, again, that you include everything that was on this project page here. So I would almost go through it like a checklist if I were a student to make sure that I cover everything. And then you are going to have class today and when do I have next? Wednesday to work on this. And then I have this project set due this Sunday. Okay, so even though I think a good chunk of you, if you use your class time, will be done by the end of class Wednesday, I did set it to Sunday just because I know that some people work a lot, and so I was trying to compensate for that. Okay. So again, in this project, the focus is to identify the brain structures in a human and the brain structures in a shark and their functions. Identify some of the unique body structures in a shark and their function, and then start comparing humans and brains and thinking about why those differences might exist and why they make sense. Okay. You have the rest of the hour today, and then you have the whole class period on Wednesday to work on this. Does anyone have any questions about what you have to do for this project, what something means, what's required, anything like that? Okay, I will take the awkward silence as a no. If you have questions, make sure to drop them in the chat or email me. This again is due Sunday, but if you finish early, submit it. And otherwise, I understand that Zoom does take up a large portion of your Wi-Fi. So if it benefits you to leave so that you can get better Wi-Fi to work on the project, I am okay with that. Okay. If you have questions again, let me know.